Hey everyone, it's Tony Leonardi, your friendly CFP professional from Newtown, Connecticut, and welcome to the final episode of A Smarter Way to Retire for 2025, because there really is a smarter way to retire. So it will be the day after Christmas when this episode is finally released on Friday. I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday with family and friends. We spend all year talking about finances and money, but what's really important is family, friends, relationships. We really should spend more time working on our relationships than we spend working on our money. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a full 2025 year in review. Look back at what we got right, what surprised us, listener favorite topics, and a quick peek at what's ahead in 2026. So let's wrap up the year together. I started this podcast YouTube series back in March to coincide with the release of my first book, A Smarter Way to Retire, 10 Steps Towards a Confident Financial Future, with the idea that I would produce something equivalent to an audiobook, not necessarily reading the book line by line, but going through my entire financial planning process step by step, the same process I use with my clients, the same process I outlined in the book, I tried to bring to life in a podcast form. If you haven't yet picked up a copy of my book, or if you'd prefer listening to it, you can go back and watch or listen to all of my prior episodes. This is actually episode 48. So there are 47 prior episodes you can go back to. In fact, the first 13 episodes revolve around my book, chapter by chapter, How to Build a Dynamic Financial Planning Model, either on your own or with the help of an advisor. And I give you lots of real life examples in those first 13 episodes. I can't vouch for the quality of the broadcasts. Those were my very first attempts at podcasting, and hopefully the quality has improved a bit over the months. In terms of the economy and finances in general, what were the biggest wins of 2025? First, the good stuff. What worked out better than most people expected? Well, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act lives on in the form of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which made the lower individual tax rates and tax brackets permanent. There was no sunset, no revision to 39.6%. That removed a huge urgency driver, but it also gave everyone more breathing room to optimize at today's known rates. Remember, for months, we had that unknown hanging over our heads. So a tax freeze, I believe, is always better than a tax increase. I hope you would agree. RMDs at age 75 became real. Anyone born 1960 or later now officially starts RMDs at age 75. That's an extra 2 years or more of Roth conversion opportunity. That's a gift that could be worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands for many families if you take advantage of it. The markets rewarded patience. Despite volatility early in the year, and some predictions that we were headed for a year-end recession, remember that, as a result of tariffs, the broad indices are finishing the year strong. In fact, some people are talking about a Santa Claus rally here in the last week of the year. So clients who stayed the course or used guardrails saw portfolios grow nicely. Just another reminder to be patient and stick with the plan. So what surprised us in 2025? Well, there were a few things that caught even seasoned planners off guard. How fast AI entered the financial planning world and the world in general. Tools like real-time modeling and scenario testing got dramatically better. We're now running thousands of Monte Carlo simulations in seconds, giving clients clearer answers than ever before. If you're not sure what a Monte Carlo simulation is, that's on tap for one of my early 2026 episodes, so stay tuned. Medicare IRMAA, which we've talked about several times in this podcast, the IRMAA cliffs hit a little bit harder. Although there were no tax rate hikes and more people stayed in lower brackets, RMDs, because of the market, RMDs and their growth still pushed many families into higher IRMAA tiers. Qualified charitable distributions became the number one move we made with clients who are charitably inclined. The semi-retirement trend exploded. More 50-somethings than ever asked this year, can I take a step back now? Can I partially retire or even fully retire? Severance bridges, remote work, side gigs made it possible for a lot of people to retire early or at least get away from that 9-to-5 slog and into something more meaningful for them. That was a big trend this year, finding work that's meaningful. I heard that from several clients this year, and I was very happy to hear that. What were some of your favorite topics of 2025? Well, you told us what you loved most. These were the episodes that got the biggest response. Number one episode, the RMD Deep Dive, Fundamentals and Advanced Strategies. That was only a few weeks ago, and that got a great response. The 3-bucket income framework and why your 401k can become a tax trap also got a great response. Roth conversions and the Roth conversion windows, and also the backdoor Roth was a hot topic this year as well. Sequence of returns risk and putting in guardrails was an important topic. And finally, the life insurance legacy play. Yes, it was a controversial episode, but it got huge engagement. And my response to the people who are a little skeptical about how that strategy works, finance is simply math. And if the math works, stick with the math. So thank you for everyone who shared the podcast, left a comment, or sent an email. You made 2025 our best year yet for reaching families who want to retire smarter. In fact, we were notified by Spotify recently that a Smarter Way to Retire podcast was one of the most shared podcasts worldwide in 2025. That is amazing. And thank you to all who shared one or more episodes with friends and family during the year. In 2026, we're setting our sights on Joe Rogan. It's good to think big, right? So what is coming in 2026? Here's a quick preview of what we're keeping an eye on. We're still keeping an eye on the One Big Beautiful Bill and the Tax Cuts and Job Act rates, which are now permanent. So we're not getting those big tax bracket jumps, which we had been planning for earlier and which people had feared were coming. But a few things are still shifting, and they can sneak up on you if you're not watching. Number one, inflation-adjusted bracket shifts. The rates are going to stay the same, 10, 12, 22, 24, etc., but the tops of each bracket move with inflation, usually 2, 3, 4% each year. Now that on the surface sounds good, right? More income taxed at lower rates. But over time, those tops creep up slower than your portfolio might grow, especially if you're still adding money to your portfolio, if you're still saving, or if you're seeing strong returns in your investments. The result is that you can get quietly slid into a higher tax bracket without even realizing it. We run these projections as part of the financial modeling for every client. It's one of the reasons a set and forget plan that you put together 5 years ago might be out of date today. Keep an eye on that. Number two, Medicare, Part B and Part D premiums are going to rise next year by 6%. The final 2026 standard Part B premium is going to be $185 a month, up from $174.70 in 2025. Surcharges also increased roughly by 6%. So higher income retirees could see total Part B and Part D increases of $200 to as much as $600 per month per couple, depending on which tier they're in. With premiums rising faster than Social Security COLA in some years, protecting your modified adjusted gross income and modeling qualified charitable distributions, Roth strategies is more valuable now than ever before. Number three, potential estate law tweaks. The gift exemption will stay high next year, but always keep an eye on Washington. The bill locked in the higher estate gift tax exemption amount at around $14 million per person, indexed for inflation. That's great news for higher net worth families and business owners. But Congress loves to tinker with that number. We've seen proposals to lower it, add new rules for trusts, or change the step up in basis. Nothing's permanent forever in Washington. That's why we review estate documents every 3 to 5 years and model what if scenarios. When I started in this business 30 years ago, the estate tax exemption amount was only $600,000, changed almost a dozen times since. Expect it to change again at some point in the future. Number 4, continued explosion of AI tools, making planning faster, clearer, and more visual. In 2026, you'll see even more advisors, at least the good ones anyway, using AI-powered modeling like we do here, that shows your probability of success in real time. Stress tests your model, thousands of different scenarios in seconds, and creates visual what-if dashboards. These tools are fantastic and everyone should have them. They make complex planning faster and easier to understand. But here's the thing, an advisor with 30 plus years of experience across all markets, bear and bull markets, recessions, and among various types of client models, brings something that modeling alone can't: judgment, nuance, and the ability to say, yes, I've seen this before, and here's what really matters for someone in your exact situation. The best planning combines cutting-edge tools with decades of real-world wisdom. I wonder who brings that to the table for you. I have someone in mind. So the bottom line for 2026, rates are going to stay favorable, but inflation, Medicare costs, and Washington's unpredictable nature mean proactive planning is more important than ever. My commitment to you every week in 2026 will keep breaking down what matters most so you can make confident, smart decisions. If you have any specific topics or specific questions that you'd like to see me address, feel free to shoot me an email, tony@leonardifwc.com. I read all of my emails and all the YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook comments, and I do my best to respond to everyone. But 2025 was a year of clarity for a lot of families, and I'm grateful that you let me be part of it. If you're thinking about making 2026 your best year yet, whether it's finally seeing your full numbers, building out your own financial model, starting Roth conversions, or just getting more confidence in your plan, there are 2 easy ways to get started. 1, you can take my free 2-minute retirement readiness quiz. You'll get your score instantly, and you'll get a free copy of my ebook, A Smarter Way to Retire. You can find it on my website at leonardifamilywealthcare.com/quiz. Or you can book a complimentary 15-minute call with me and we'll look at your situation together. You can find my calendar at leonardifamilywealthcare.com. Look for the contact and Calendly tabs. So I want to thank you all again for an amazing 2025. It was a lot of fun. Plan smart, retire happier, because there is a smarter way to retire. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2026.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned in other entities and or marketing names. Products or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth. The opinions expressed herein are for general information only and is not necessarily the opinions of Osaic Wealth or its representatives. Investing is subject to risk, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. It is not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Please consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation.